In this tutorial, we're going to talk about manipulating some of the points you have made. And we're going to continue working with the straightedgetrace.ai file. If not already open, go ahead and do so. You will want to use the one with your traces on it. The first thing we want to do is go to your Properties panel and click the Layers tab. Click the eyeball on Layer 1 to hide it. On Layer 2, click the empty space to the left of the lock icon to show the layer. The lock icons keep you from selecting or drawing on those layers. Finally, let's make sure to click on the name Layer 3 to make sure it is highlighted. The highlighted layer is the active layer you will be working on. When you're done, click the Properties tab to return to its features. Now, notice on your artboard, we have modified versions of shapes 4 and 6 to work with. We are going to modify the shapes that you made to match these new ones. Let's start with shape 4. You will notice that we have curved corners. Press V on your keyboard to switch to your selection tool. Click in the middle of the shape. Notice how it's not selecting anything. That's because it has no fill. Instead, click on the outline of the shape or the stroke. Now in your toolbar, locate the Direct Selection tool that sits below your normal selection tool. The keyboard shortcut is A. In my opinion, A means anal. When you need to be anal about your points or details, you want to use your Direct Selection tool to work with specific points or segments. Now notice that we have these circles inside of each corner. This is because when we use the normal selection tool, it selected all the points. Go ahead and click and drag the circle in the lower left corner towards the center of your shape. Notice how it's affecting all 4 corners. Again, when the whole shape is selected, all points are selected. Pulling towards the center pulls out curves. To push them back to straight edges, drag the circle back to its original corner. If needed, press Ctrl Z to undo. Keep doing so till you get back to your original shape. This time, use the Direct Selection tool to click on the upper right corner point to activate it. Notice we have a single circle for the point we have activated. That's because we have chosen only one point to work with. Now, click and drag the circle towards the center of the shape till your curve matches the one underneath it. Let go of your mouse button when done to commit it. Keep in mind, you can always go back and edit it. While you can do this one corner at a time, you can speed up the workflow by selecting multiple corners with the Direct Selection tool. Select the upper left corner or draw a selection marquee around it with the Direct Selection tool. When selecting more than one object, you have to hold down the Shift key. Holding down Shift, select the lower right corner or draw a selection marquee around it. Notice you have 2 circles inside. Click and drag either one towards the center of the shape till your curve matches the one underneath it. Notice how it affects both at the same time. This is because you directly chose 2 points to affect at the same time. When you get it to match, go ahead and save your work by pressing Ctrl S on your keyboard. Now let's look at shape 6. In order to modify this shape, we need to move and add additional points. So first, let's straighten up points A and B to create a more level line. Press A on your keyboard to select the Direct Selection tool. Select or draw a selection marquee around the upper left point under the 6. Go to your Properties panel. In Transform, look at Y. Since we are dealing with moving a point up or down, we focus on the Y value. Select the value in Y till all of it is highlighted. Right-click and choose Copy. Using your Direct Selection tool, click the top corner dot below the A. In your Properties panel, look at Y and Transform. Select the value in it. Right-click and choose Paste to overwrite it. Press Enter. Now you have a level line. Now, select or draw a marquee around the left corner point below G. Go to your Properties panel and Transform, look at Y. Since we are dealing with moving a point up or down, we are focusing on the Y value. Select the value in Y till all of it is highlighted. Right-click and choose Copy. Using your Direct Selection tool, click the corner dot above the B. In your Properties panel, look at Y and Transform. Select the value in it, right-click and choose Paste. Press Enter to commit it. Nice work. Press Ctrl S to save your work. Next, we want to add points to the path. Using either the Direct Selection tool, A on your keyboard, or Normal Selection tool, V on your keyboard, make sure the outline of your shape is selected. Press P on your keyboard to switch to your pen tool. Move your pen cursor over a line of your selected shape. Notice how a plus sign appears when you hover over the line. Now important, your path must always be selected first before you can add a point to it. Otherwise, you will create a whole new path that is not connected. Now hover your cursor over the path at the C location. Making sure you have a plus sign next to your pen cursor, click to add a point on the line. If it makes it easier to see, press Caps Lock to switch to a crosshair. Add another point at D. Between points C and D, click and add 2 more points. It doesn't matter where. Now press A on your keyboard to switch to your Direct Selection tool. Because we are grabbing specific points, we need to use this tool. Click and drag the point closest to D and move it up till it matches the corner location E. Click and drag the point closest to C and move it up till it matches the corner location F. Press P on your keyboard to switch to your pen tool. Now hover your cursor over the path at the G location. Making sure you have a plus sign next to your pen cursor, click to add a point on the line. If it makes it easier to see, press Caps Lock to switch to a crosshair. Press A to switch back to the Direct Selection tool. Click and drag the lower left corner near H to the left. Hold down the Shift key to keep it straight. Press P on your keyboard to switch to your pen tool. Between points G and H, click to add 1 more point. It doesn't matter where. Press A on your keyboard to switch to your Direct Selection tool. Click and drag the point until it matches the corner location I. To make sure it's straight with both G and H, let's go ahead and check its X and Y value. With the Direct Selection tool, select the point at the G location. Go to your Properties panel and Transform, look at Y. Since we are dealing with moving a point up or down, we want to focus on the Y value. Select the value in Y till all of it is highlighted. Right-click and choose Copy. Using your Direct Selection tool now, go back and click the corner dot at I. Return to your Properties panel and look at Y and Transform. Select the value in it, right-click and choose Paste to overwrite it. Press Enter to commit it. To match it with the H, use the Direct Selection tool and select the point at the H location. Go to your Properties panel and Transform, look at X. Since we are dealing with moving a point left or right, we focus on the X value. Select the value in X till all of it is highlighted. Right-click and choose Copy. Then, using your Direct Selection tool, click the corner dot at I. Return to your Properties panel, look at X and Transform. Select the value in it, right-click and choose Paste. Press Enter to commit it. And there you go. Press Ctrl S to save your work. Now, as a side note, you've been using the Direct Selection tool to grab individual points. You can always grab more than one point to manipulate something. For example, if I wanted the bottom bumper to be longer, I could click and select both points at I and H by holding down the Shift key when I selected them. Or I can drag a selection marquee around both points. I can then drag them further left. If I need it to be straight, I can hold down the Shift key. I can also use the Direct Selection tool to grab the line segment between points to move a line as well. If I add a point to a line but need to move it to another place on that line between 2 points, I can just click and drag it to where I need it. If on a straight line, I can always hold down the Shift key to constrain it. And if I don't need that point, I can hover my pen over it, and notice the minus sign next to the pen cursor. This means remove the point. If I click on that point, notice it removes it. So as you can see, there are lots of ways to manipulate the paths of a shape with the Direct Selection tool.